ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीहरिं परमानन्दम् उपदेष्टारमीश्वरम् व्यापकं सर्वलोकानां कारणं तं नमाम्यहम्। अपरोक्षानुभूतिर्वै प्रोच्यते मोक्षसिद्धये सद्भिरेव प्रयत्नेन वीक्षणीया मुहुर्मुहुः। 11वां श्लोक। नोत्पद्यते विना ज्ञानम् विचारेणान्यसाधनैः यथा पदार्थभानं हि प्रकाशेन विना क्वचित् कोऽहं कथमिदं जातम् को वै कर्तास्य विद्यते। उपादानं किमस्तीह विचारस्सोऽयमीदृशः नाहं भूतगणो देहः नाहं चाक्षगणस्तथा एतद्विलक्षणः कश्चित् विचारस्सोऽयमीदृशः अज्ञानप्रभवं सर्वं ज्ञानेन प्रविलीयते संकल्पो विविधः कर्ता विचारस्सोऽयमीदृशः। नोत्पद्यते विना ज्ञानं विचारेण अन्य साधनैः। विचारेण विना, without vichara, अन्य साधनैः, by means other than vichara, jnanam notpadyate, knowledge does not arise, knowledge does not take place by means other than vichara. यथा पदार्थभानमि प्रकाशेन विना क्वचित्। Vichara or inquiry is like throwing light upon something. What is this? Where does it come from? What is it made of? All of this is like throwing light upon this. This object that is in front of me, right now, however, it is as though veiled by ignorance. Inasmuch as I do not know what it is, inasmuch as I do not understand what it is, if that is the case, this is an example. If there is an object in my hand or near me or in front of me, which I do not recognize, which I do not know, then the author says, what's the process of knowing? By vichara. By this set of questions which are conducive to understanding the nature of it, not just any kind of questions, not just any kind of investigation, but line of questioning or investigation which is conducive to understanding the nature of this. So until I understand something, we can say that it is veiled in ignorance. Not veiled from my eyes, but from my mind, because I don't understand who are you? So when I do not know this person in front of, who are you? So I see, but still I don't see, meaning that I don't recognize the person. What's your name? Where do you come from? Where did we meet? These are the kind of questions I ask in order to know who this person is. So this is what we normally do in order to understand something that we experience all right, but we do not recognize. Something that we are experiencing, but which we do not recognize. If you do not experience something, the desire to know itself will not arise. What is this? Which flower is this? When I experience something, then a question may arise, what is this? And particularly if it is important for me to know, many things are not important, I may not care. But somebody presents before me a fruit or an eatable item, offers me, what is this? Where does it come from? Who has grown this? Is it organic? Do they spray insecticides? Have you washed it properly? In mineral water? Have you steamed it? Yeah. Whatever it is, whatever it is, I want to know before I touch it or before I allow it, to enter my system. So that's when something is experienced all right but unknown to us. Then the way we come to know is by asking relevant questions. Questions that are relevant to revealing the nature of the thing which I want to know. Then you can do what you want to do. But knowledge is important. Where ignorance is a problem, the knowledge becomes most important because that's the solution. So as far as the self is I am concerned, the world is concerned, all of these I experience all right, but I do not quite recognize them as they are. I recognize them in my way. I have a recognition or understanding of myself. I have an understanding of the universe also. But as it turns out, it is a wrong understanding. So you say, Vedanta seeks to enable us to know the self that is wrongly known, not an unknown self, but a wrongly known self. It seeks us to understand it correctly. The world also, which is wrongly known, it seeks us for us to understand it correctly. Therefore, for understanding or recognizing, a series of questions are asked which are conducive to revealing or enabling us to understand the nature. So what the self? Koham, who am I? So when I ask that question, then the answer will be the true nature of I. Idam, this universe, katham jatam, how is it born? Koi, how is it born? Is it a real creation or what kind of creation is it? Katham jatam, is it born from a real cause? What is it? Koi vi kartasya vidyate, who is the karta? Who is the one that is the agent of creation? Upadanam kimasti hai. What is upadanam? What is the material from which the universe is made? Vichara swayam idru. This is the vichara. So, this kind of questioning, which will lead us to understand the nature of the self, the nature of the universe, the nature of the creator. So that is called vichara. So vichara is a method of inquiring which will lead us to the knowledge of what it is that we want to know. So koham, first question was, naham bhutagano deha, who am I? Naham bhutagano deha, I am not this body. Bhutagana, which is an assemblage of bhuta or the elements, whether 4 elements or 5 elements. But the body, gross body as well as subtle body, both are the products of the 5 elements. The gross body is the product of 5 gross elements in the gross state. The subtle body is the product of the same elements in the subtle state. But both gross and subtle bodies are bodies. They are matter. They are inert. They are objects. They are drishyam. They are known to me, experienced by me. Naham bhutagano deha, naham cha akshagaнаstatha. So here deha is the gross body, akshagana, this group of group of organs. The external organs as well as the inner organ. The organs of perception, organs of action as well as the mind, which is inner organ. There also I am not because they also fall in the category of object or drishya. Just as the pot I am not because pot is in the category of non-self. So what is drishyam, what is perceived? What is experienced is object. The experiencer is subject. The experiencer is Atma. The experienced is Anatma. So because this body is experienced, therefore is Anatma, so also the gross body is experienced, therefore is Anatma, so also the subtle body consisting of the organs of perception and action as well as mind also is Anatma. So koham, first question. Katham idam jatam. How is the universe born? Says ajnana prabhavam sarvam. All of this is ajnana prabhavam. Has all emerged from ajnana or ignorance. So this is Vedanta's contribution to the universe. As to what's the original cause of the universe, Vedanta says ignorance. What ignorance? Self-ignorance is the cause of the universe. How can ignorance become the cause of creation of something? Because this ignorance of the self creates what we call the superimposition, the misperception, the wrong perception. So ignorance does not merely confine itself to the absence of knowledge. Here ignorance stretches too, making me take this as self what is not self. So body, mind, sense complex, the upadhi, which is not the self, is taken to be self. That's a product of ignorance. We'll see later as, so idea is that I take as self what I am not, superimpose the attributes of that upon my I. And similarly, I superimpose attributes of non-self upon the self upon non-self. That is why I have a conclusion about myself. That I am fat, I am lean, etc. Because the body and its attributes are superimposed upon I. The body is very dear to me. I look upon that as self because the attribute of self is superimposed upon the body. Who creates this? The superimposition, what is responsible for that? Ajnanam. The ignorance of the self is responsible for this superimposition. Just as ignorance of the rope is responsible for the creation of snake, and so also this ignorance of the self first creates this wrong notion, creates in me a sense of inadequacy. Because when I look upon body as a self, the body, poor thing, is very inadequate. And therefore, I look upon myself inadequate. All the limitations of the body, mind, sense complex become my limitation. I am a limited being, inadequate being. This is my perception of myself. However, I have an expectation of myself. What is my expectation of myself? I should be a complete being. So my perception is, I am an incomplete being. My expectation is, I should be a complete being. And therefore, immediately there arises a desire of becoming complete. When I find myself incomplete, and I want to see myself complete, then there is desire to be complete, desire to be adequate. So ignorance causes the mutual superimposition, which causes sense of inadequacy, which causes the desire to become adequate. And that desire results into karma, action, to become adequate. So vidya, kama, karma. That action in turn creates the result. So this universe is the result of the actions performed by us. Said yesterday, the universe around me is a product of the action performed by me. My birth, my death, and all that I confront in my life, all of this is created by this prarabdha karma, by karma. Meaning that my universe is created by my karma, your universe is created by your karma. And thus, when you add up the totality of all karma of all the beings, then you have the whole universe. So, creation is always a response to the need. Sometimes I give this example. But one day, I just needed a cup of tea. Please bring a cup of tea. It was brought to me. Where did you get this tea? From that kettle, Swamiji. Oh, the tea kettle produces tea? No, Swamiji. It comes from kitchen, where the tea is made. When kitchen, tea producing machine? No, Swamiji. You have to make tea. Take a vessel and then add water in there, and then milk and tea and sugar and spices and boil them, and that's how Gujaratis make tea. So whichever you make some way, Oh, you need milk? You need water? You need tea for these things? Yeah. Where does milk come from? From refrigerator. Your refrigerator produces milk? No, Swamiji. From store. The store says no. Comes from dairy. Comes from cows. Oh, you need cows for this milk? How do the cows get milk? So they graze grass. You have to produce. The grass grows by itself. No. You have to, sow the seeds, and then you have to water that, and you require sunlight, and you require air, and everything you require. So, how about then you trace milk, then you trace the fuel with which you burn, that stove. Where does the fuel come from? Some is a bottle in India, it's LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. Where does it come from? From distributor. Where does it come from? From refinery. How does it go there? You refine it, Swami, you get the petroleum. Where does it come from? From the earth. How did it happen to be there? Swami, it takes millions of years for the carbon to get transformed into this petroleum. So for boiling that tea, you require all this stuff. So that's if you add up how the milk is brought, how water comes, how tea leaves come, how sugar comes, how spices come, how the fuel comes, how the vessel comes, and you can, you find that you require the whole universe. Because you require sun, elements for the grass to grow, for all these things to grow, that require the whole solar system, that requires this galaxy, requires all the galaxies. So my desire for one cup of tea required the Creator to create the whole universe. Then only any desire is fulfilling. Any one desire requires the whole universe, understand? So thus the universe is the product of desire. Desire is product of ignorance. And therefore, the whole universe is the product of ignorance. Ajnana prabhavam sarvam. That's another way of looking at it. Yesterday we gave the example of dream world, which is very clear is the product of ignorance. So, kathamidam jatam. How is this universe born? Ajnana prabhavam. It is born of ignorance. Kovi karta se vidyate. Who is the karta? Who is the agent who creates all this? Sankalpo vividah karta. As we discussed last night in the dream, as a thought arises in my mind, there is an object. Thought of the mountain, in the dream creates mountain. Thought of river creates river. The thought, the sankalpa, that creates. Anyway, what we see in this hall is ultimately creation of a thought only. I think we should have a hall. That's the thought. Then slowly the thought gained form. What kind of hall and what is what, and then planning, and you arrived at this kind of hall we should have, and all the maps are made, the drawings are made, structures are drawing and everything. So thought resulted into all those maps, etc. And then it resulted into all the construction. So if you look at this hall, is ultimately the product of a thought. So what is out there was at one time in here as thought. And therefore, sankalpo vividha sankalpa. How come there is a variety in the universe? Because the thoughts, sankalpa, the desires are of variety of nature. And therefore, there is this variegated creation. So, koham, who am I? Kathamidam jatam, how is this born? Koivi karta se vidyate, who is the karta? Who is the doer? The upadanam kimasti hai. Now the next question is, what's the upadanam? What's the material cause? So that's answered in the next verse, verse 15. etayor yadupadanam ekam sukshmam sadavyayam yathaiva mrudghatadinam vicarasoyamidrushah. So really, ajnanam or ignorance can be called upadana karanam. Ignorance can be called the material cause of the universe. But here, he is exploring further. Where is the basis of ignorance? So universe has its basis in ignorance. But then what's the basis of ignorance? Etayo yadupadanam etayo ajnana sankalpayo. Ignorance, on one hand, creates sankalpa, and that creates the universe. So where do both of these, where are they born of? What's the basis of ignorance? What's the basis of sankalpa of the thought? Etayo yadupadanam. The material cause even of these two. What is that? Ekam sukshmam sadavyayam. So Brahman is the ultimate material cause. Look at this. Ekam. What we find in the universe is anekata. What we find is variety, diversity, disparity. Understand the cause of all of this is one. Non-dual. Sukshmam. The universe is what? Sthulam, meaning perceptible. Sukshmam, not perceptible. So original cause, ultimate cause of the diversity is one, unity. Of this perceptible universe, the ultimate cause is what? Not perceptible. Avyayam. The universe is constantly, vyayam means changing. Universe is perishable. If we name and form as an origin, as a creation, is created, sustained, destroyed. See how the interesting thing is, the cause is quite of a nature, quite contrary to the product effect. Usually, the cause and effect are compatible. When you have pot, which is the effect or creation, the cause is clay. And they are compatible to each other. So, similarly also, when you find that the universe is all diverse and multifarious, you will think that the cause also must have a potential diversity in there. Is it not so? See, when you look at the tree, you trace the cause of the tree into a seed. And you split the seed and look through microscope, you will see perhaps all the elements of the tree in that seed. Because only when the potential is there in the cause, then the effect can come out. You see, from the clay we can only make a pot. You can't make idli. Because the potential of idli is not there in clay. Similarly also, when you sow the mango seed, only mango tree will come out, not a lemon tree. Our usual experience is that the cause is compatible to the effect. That's the reason why we can infer the nature of cause from the effect. That if the ornament is golden, then the cause must be gold. The pot is clay, so potty clay. Swami used not pot clay but potty. Then the cause must be clay. That's why Sankhya say, if you look at the universe, you find the universe is a play of the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. Sattva is tranquility, purity, which is what you find in the universe somewhere. Rajas is activity, agitation, that's what you find. Tamas is dullness, darkness, inertness. So, universe is a combination of inert mountains, the active wind and water, and the tranquil nature. Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. Our mind also, sometimes very tranquil, Sattvic, sometimes agitated, Rajas, sometimes dull, Tamas. So that's how Sankhya say that this universe is a product, displays the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Therefore, the cause also must have those three gunas. So cause is always inferred, understand. What you perceive or experience is effect. From that, you infer the nature of cause. That's the reason why the Tarkikas, the Vaisheshikas say that the cause of the universe is 5 elements or 5 atoms, because you see the universe's play of the 5 elements. Or Sankhya say that we see the universe's play of the 3 gunas, so they look upon 3 gunas as a pradhanam, as a cause, material cause. Vedanta says no. It is Satchidananda, it is Ekam, Sukshmam, Sat, Avyayam. Ekam Sat, Sat or existence. Ekam Sadvidiyam, the existence, Sat, which also means Chit, which also means Ananda. Satchidananda, Ekam one, Advitiyam, non-dual, Sukshmam, imperceptible. So how come this Jagat Karanam, this Satchidananda, cannot be perceived? How come Satchidananda cannot be perceived? Sukshma means that which cannot be perceived, subtle. Because it is the nature of the very perceiver. It's not out there. The universe is out there. The cause of it is where? Right here. That's the most amazing thing. Nobody can ever suspect that. Nobody can ever suspect that the universe, which is material, which is gross, which is perceptible, its cause is what? Subtle, imperceptible. The cause of non-self is the cause of non-self. Can you believe that? Ekam, Sukshmam, Sat, Avyayam, imperishable. Yethu Mrit Ghatadinam. Just as Mrit or clay is the material cause of the pot, etc., similarly also, just Ekam, Sukshmam, Sat, Avyayam is the material cause. Hey, you know what is material cause? Must be a material there, substance. Material is something you should be able to do. It must be tangible, is it not so? Material must be tangible. Should be able to handle it. The Ekam, Sukshmam, Sadavyayam is not tangible, it is intangible and insubstantial. How can intangible, unsubstantial become the cause of what is tangible and substantial? Meaning that the cause does not seem to have any attribute of the effect. The cause appears to be of the nature totally contrary to the nature of the effect. That's the reason why you can never infer the cause in this case. As far as the universe is concerned, you cannot infer the cause because the cause of the universe has no attributes or characteristics which are found in the universe. That's mind-boggling. Because the normal process of investigating cause is to infer from the effect. But therefore, the Niyayikas infer in their own way, Vaisheshikas infer in their own way, Sankhyas infer in their own way. Everybody inferred. But this does not lend to inference. It lends to what? Only Shabda is a pramanam. Scripture is a pramanam. In what way? Sadeva Swami idamagra asit ekameva dvitiyam. Chandogya Upanishad says, what's the cause of the universe? Idam agre asit. Idam, this universe of names and forms, agre, before its creation, asit was. So what exists before the creation is called cause. You can say that this pot, before its creation, was clay. Because that's where you see a lump of clay. So this pot, before its creation, was clay. So what exists in a moment prior to creation is called the material cause. So clay is the material cause of the pot. So Upanishad says, what existed before this universe came into being? Sat ekameva dvitiyam. Sat, or existence, one without a second, is what was. The universe was. Sat, one without a second, before its creation. Meaning what? Upanishad says that Sat ekam advitiyam, one non-dual Sat is the cause of the universe. So Upanishad says. That's what we say. What is saying here is, etayo idupadanam ekam sukshmam sadavyayam. The original material cause and material cause, you want to call it, of ignorance and thought, all of this is Sat ekam advitiyam sukshmam avyayam, imperishable. So this statement is made simply based on the Upanishad. All the statements are made from Upanishad. None of the statements are made from inference or anything. So, vichara soyamidusha. This is the vichara. This is how, meaning that the scientific process of arriving at the cause by inference from the effect will not lead to this one. So somebody once asked me many years ago, Swami, what is the model that Vedanta has for creation? So the model is rope snake model. How the snake is created from rope, and he was highly impressed. Wow! Swami, what's the mathematical relationship between snake and the rope? That, because scientist wants to know. Mathematical means how do you infer? Mathematical, what's the relationship between snake and the rope? So what's the relation between effect and the cause? No relationship. There must be quantum, meaning what? You have to quantum jump. From snake, a quantum jump to rope. What is quantum jump? You have to negate that snake. Because the cause is of a reality, a higher degree of reality than the effect. Usually, by inference, you say that the cause has the same degree of reality of effect. Then you can infer. We can say that about the pot because the clay has the same degree of reality as the pot. But that method doesn't work here because urdhvam moolam adashakam. The moola, the cause, urdhvam, uparivartmanam, limitless. Adashakam. Shakha, the creation of that, is lower. Meaning that the cause is satyam, paramathikam. Effect is what? Mithya. You cannot infer paramathika from mithya. You cannot jump from unreal to real. It's not that you have 1 foot in the unreal and you climb to real. You have to give up this unreal. The snake must be given up in order to know the rope. So, vichara soyamidrusha. That's the way the vichara, the inquiry should be performed. So what does this vichara amount to? So who am I then? Who am I? Kachid vilakshana. someone quite distinctly different from the body, mind, sense complex, their witness. And what's the cause of the universe? Ekam sukshmam sadavyayam. So now how do they relate to each other? Who am I? I am the witness, the consciousness, distinct from this body, mind, sense complex. Their witness, the one who enlivens them. And what's the cause of the creation? Ekam sukshmam sadavyayam. So what's the relationship between them? So the next one says that. Are there two entities now? The self is one and the cause of universe is, because cause of universe is ekam sukshmam sadavyayam, all right, is one subtle, imperceptible existence, non-dual, imperishable. And who am I? I am the witness, the consciousness. Are these two different entities? Or are they one? So the next question one says that Ahamekopi sukshmascha Jnata sakshi sadavyayah Tadaham natra sandeha Vicharasoyami drushaha. Aham, who am I? Ekopi. So same characteristics also apply to Aham. So Jagat Karanam is what? Ekam Sukshmam Sat Avyayam. Jagat Karanam, cause of creation is Ekam Sukshmam, imperceptible, Sat existence, Avyam imperishable. Where do you find this? Where is this? There is that Ekam Sukshmam Sadam. Where is it? Say, hey, that is I. Because I'm also one. The I is one, understand? Our Swami used to say, there's no one like you. There is no one like you. In what sense? I'm the subject. Everything else is object. How many subjects are there? One subject, I. Swami, that's what you say. I say I am the subject. Okay. But the I that is subject, that is you, and I that is subject, I am, are these two entities? The entities can be true only when they have specific characteristics or they have attributes. One attribute separates the object from other object and another attribute. This object is partness. This object is clothness. So the part is different from cloth because part possesses the attribute partness, the cloth possesses the attribute clothness. That is why you can distinguish the two. But here is this one fluorescent light, other fluorescent light. Can you distinguish this light, one light from the other? Because light does not have attribute, doesn't have any distinguishing features that can distinguish from other light. Or there is space in this part, there is space in the other part. Can you distinguish one space from the other? You cannot, because space doesn't have any distinguishing features. Therefore, space is how many? One. So I are how many? See, the subject has to be free from all attributes. So all attributes are known to me, understand? I objective, I hot, cold, tall, short, fat, lean, whatever you say, good, bad, indifferent, all of these are objects of my knowledge, is not so? Meaning I am distinct from all of them. I am distinct from all the attributes, all the visheshanas. So who am I? Attributeless. Who are you? Attributeless. Who is he? Is attributeless. How many attributeless can there be? Because it is attribute that distinguishes one from the other. Attributeless cannot be many. So how many eyes are there? One. Aham ekovi. So that Jagat Karana also is ekam. Aham also is ekah. Jagat Karana ekam sukshmam. Sukshma is what? Which you cannot perceive. So can you perceive the eye? Can you perceive the perceiver? Can you climb on your own shoulders? Can you lift yourself by your own bootstrap? Therefore, Vijñātāramare kena vijaniyāt. Hey Maitreyi, how can a knower be known? For something to be known, it must be the object of knowledge. But the knower is different from the known. Now for me to know myself, I should simultaneously become knower as well as known, isn't it? For me to know myself, the self that I know becomes the object of knowledge. The self that knows becomes the subject of knowledge. I must simultaneously become what? Simultaneously the knower and known. But then knower must be different from known. Therefore, one entity cannot be simultaneously karta and karma, object and subject. Therefore, I can never be objectified. Therefore, I can never be perceptive. Sukshma. So the Jagat Karana also is Sukshma. I am the Sukshma. Jnata, Sakshi. Because I am knower, I am the witness. Therefore, free from all attributes. Sat avyaya. Here I am also Sat. What is Sat? Existence. That which ever exists is called Sat. That which can never not be is called Sat. Can it be that I am not sometime? Can it be that I disappear sometime and comes? In the waking state, I is always there. Dream state, I is always there. Deep sleep state, the I is always there. So I is what? Ever existing. I am, ever persists. So what is the true nature of the subject? I am. What is that am? Am is existence. So who am I? I is equal to am. Meaning I is a Sat. So Jagat Karana also was Sat. I am also Sat. Avyaya. Ekam sukshmam sadavyayam. The Jagat Karanam, cause of universe, was imperishable. Who am I? Am I perishable? The I, is it perishable? There is nothing can destroy it. I am also avyaya. You see, anything that has parts, anything that has attributes can change. So anything that has attributes can change and perish. Anything that has parts, the parts can disintegrate, thing can perish. The I is partless. I is attributeless. Therefore I is changeless. The I is imperishable. See how intelligently it is put here. You arrive at the Jagat Karanam as Ekam Sukshmam Sadavyam. You find that I also is what? Only gender change. Ekaha, Sukshmaha, Sat Avyaya. There is the neuter gender. This is masculine gender because I is in masculine gender. That means there is no gender, If neuter is equal to masculine means what? They transcend the gender. There is no gender. Tadaham natra sandeha. Therefore that Brahman or Jagat Karanam I am, no sandeha, there is no doubt at all. So thus, if you have to look for the cause of the universe, where will you look? If you look for the cause of the universe, where will you look? Not out there. Where? Not in here. Then as what? As I. So what is cause of creation called Brahman? what is called I, the Atma, in fact are one alone. So this is how vichara soyami drusha. That is how when inquiry is conducted, then this is the conclusion and the understanding and knowledge that you arrive at, that what there is one. Call it Brahman, if you like. Call it self, if you like. Call it I, if you like. Call it Sat, call it Chit, call it Ananda, call it Asti, Bhati, Priyam. All there is Jagat Karanam as well as self, whatever it is that. And that is the substance of which the whole universe is made. Can you believe that? The substance of which the universe is made is this. There is no substance, Swami, there is no substance in it. How can you take his I and form, make pot out of that? How can you do that? So Vedanta says you don't need a substance for this. All you need is what? Imagination, that's all. You don't need a substance for making a pot. Sankalpa vividah karta. This pot is no different from the pot thought. Can you say that? This pot, when can you know? I mean, we are stuck here, but anyway, so we get stuck with these verses. So I don't know how far we are going to go, but anyway. So the thing is, how do you know that there is this pot? Only when there is a thought of the pot. When does the perception of a pot take place? When the pot thought takes place in my mind, isn't it? Do you see this pot? When do you say yes? When in your mind there is a thought corresponding to the pot. Your mind reaches out through your sense organs, takes the form of the pot, and the pot thought is formed in your mind. Therefore, that the pot is can be established only when there is a pot thought in your mind. Is there a pot in my hand? Hopefully you will say no. Because there is no pot thought in your mind. So pot thought is not, pot is not. Pot thought is, pot is, right? Pot thought is, then you say yes, pot is there. There is no thought of pot when I show my palm. Swami, there is no thought palm, there is no pot in your palm. So, pot is because pot thought is. But when can pot thought take place? Only when the pot is. So when the pot is, pot thought takes place. When the pot thought is, then you can know that pot is. You follow? Only when the pot is, that in your mind a pot thought can take place. Only when a pot thought takes place in your mind, then only you can say there is pot. So pot is because pot thought is, and pot thought is because pot is. Can you say there are two different things? Can there be one without the other? There cannot be pot without pot thought, there cannot be pot thought without pot. So are they two different things? No. There's only one. And therefore, what is out there is nothing more than a thought, and what is thought is nothing more than... So, what is substance of this? A thought is a substance, you follow? And what is thought? Nothing but consciousness in that form. Consciousness, assuming a name form, is called thought. So what is substance of it this is made? Consciousness, understand? This is a Vedantic way of inquiring. Without any scientific instruments, you follow? What is this part? Nothing different from part thought. What is part thought? How do you know there is a thought? Only when the thought is illumined, isn't it? Only when the thought is illuminated by consciousness that you know that the thought is. So this part is not separate from part thought. Part thought is not separate from consciousness. All there is what? Consciousness. Consciousness is the substance of the thought, and thought is the substance of the thought. So ultimately, what is substance? We already said that. Ekam sukshmam sadavyayam. So, as Vedanta, there is no substance. The only substance in the universe is what? Consciousness. Ekam sukshmam sadavyayam. Therefore, Vedanta says, hey, how can this become so tangible? But the thought becomes tangible. The thought acquires a force and becomes a tangible universe. My thought of the hall became the whole tangible hall. So consciousness became the thought and thought became the hall. So consciousness became all of this. Vichara soyami. This is the way vichara is carried out in Vedanta with the assistance of scriptures. This is not an independent vichara, understand? Not somebody sitting in an armchair and thinking. No, this thinking is as guided by the scriptures and the teacher. So vichara is said, that's how knowledge takes place. Etadeva jiva brahma aikyam ajnana pradarshena dradayati. The question is, if I am Brahman, how come I don't know that? How come I think that I am an individual? Next question is, Tattvamasi, you say that I am Brahman. But my perception of myself is quite different, is it not so? I think I am a man, a woman, and happy, and unhappy, and tall, and short, and successful, and failure, and whatever. So how come, in spite of my being Brahman, I look upon myself in this way? Why? What's the cause? Ignorance. It is ignorance because of which I look upon myself in a way quite contrary to what I am. The ekam sad avyam is limitless because avyam is imperishable. Sad is attributeless, therefore limitless. So whereas limitlessness is my nature, existence is my nature, I look on myself as a perishable fellow. I am martya, I am mortal, I am going to die someday. Who says that? The existence, the imperishable says that. I am a helpless, hapless creature, limited. Who says that? The limitless says that. I am just one among the many and always attacked by the whole world. And who says that? The non-dual says that. How can this happen? This is where every mind is mind-boggling. Everybody is totally thrown off by this. So what is Vedanta's answer? Ignorance. Ignorance causes what we call the mutual superimposition. So that's how Bhashyakara introduces Brahma Sutra, brilliant introduction of Brahma Sutra, where Adi Shankaracharya, the Bhashyakara, establishes that there is ignorance in our life. That the very statement I make about myself, the way I feel about myself, the way I feel about the world, all of that reveals ignorance. So, next verse tells us that Atma vinishkalo hekah Deho bahuviravritah Tayoraikyam prapashyante Kimajnanamatah param. So these verses show me viparita jnanam. There's ajnanam and viparita jnanam. Ajnanam, ignorance. Viparita jnanam, the false knowledge. Ignorance, lack of knowledge. Viparita jnanam, false knowledge. False perception. And the rule is that the false knowledge, you call it false perception, a Brahma, delusion, is always born of ignorance. Snake is a delusion, born of the rope ignorance. So wherever Viparita Jnanam is, wherever one thing is taken to be different from what it is. You know what is Viparita Jnanam? One thing taken to be quite contrary to what it is. The rope is taken to be the snake. Or the limitless is taken to be limited. That is called Viparita Jnanam, false knowledge. So false knowledge can be only when there is ignorance. Only when I do not know the rope as rope, then only false notion of snake can arise. Only when I do not know the I, as I am, then the false notion about I will arise. So, this fellow reveals all false notion. Who are you? I'm a Swami so and so. What's your birth date? Such and such. You know what is all of this is false knowledge. When I say I was born, you can say the body was born, there's different. I was born on such and such date. You can say, who is sitting in the chair? I am sitting in the chair. You can say, body is sitting, there is all. I am sitting in the chair. You follow? What is reality? The body was born. What do I say? I was born. What is reality? The body is sitting in the chair. What do I say? I am sitting in the chair. That's gone. That is it. Meaning what? You are equating yourself to the body. You look upon body as a self. So sitting is the attribute of the body. I superimpose on myself. I say, I am sitting. Birth is the attribute of the body. That I superimpose on myself. I say, I was born. You understand? Thus, the whole of our life reveals what? Viparita Jnanam. All false knowledge or false notions or conclusions or opinions or whatever, delusions about ourselves. Brahma. So Brahma can be there, delusion can be there, false can be there only when there is ignorance. That is how ignorance is established in our life. See, ignorance is not, you can't perceive ignorance, it's inferred. Ignorance is inferred. From what? From the false knowledge. So Ajnanam is inferred from Viparita Jnanam. Viparita Jnanam, the contrary knowledge. Ajnanam, ignorance. So ignorance is inferred from the contrary knowledge. So this is how Bhashyakara said in the Brahma Sutra. Yushmat asmat prachay gocharayoho vishay vishayanoho tamah prakashvat viruddha svabhavayoho. Bhashyakara says in the introduction of Brahma Sutra that there are two entities in our life. Yushmat and asmat. You and I. That's all there is. What else is there? What is my life? Object and subject. You and I. So it's something, yushmat pratyaya gocharam, that which is the subject matter of the content of you. That is object. Asmat pratyaya gocharam, that which is object of or the content of the thought I. The thought you, thought I. The content of you is all of this. Content of I subjects. Object is there, subject is there. Vishay vishayanoho. One is Vishaya, the object, other is Vishay, the subject. But then what is the nature? Tamah prakashvat viruddha svabhavayoho. But they are totally contrary in nature. Like light and darkness. So what is viruddha? Those which cannot coexist. Darkness cannot coexist with light. Similarly, object cannot coexist with subject. Subject and object cannot be the same locus because one thing cannot split into two. So just as the darkness, light is opposed to darkness, so also the object and subject. Subject is opposed to object. Object cannot be where the subject is. So tamah prakāsavat viruddha svabhavayoho, those which have this svabhava, the nature, which is truly contrary to each other, like that of the light and darkness. Therefore, tad dharmanam api. Therefore the dharma, the attributes of I are also distinct. The attributes of you also are distinct. Attribute subjects are distinct. Those objects also, because subject is conscious, object is inert, subject is what? Illuminator, object is illumined, right? Subject is one, object is many. Therefore, their attributes also are totally contrary to each other. So they are in different locations. The object is there, subject is here. The location is different, the nature is different. And therefore, they can never coexist. They cannot be one place. The object cannot be where the subject is. And therefore, it cannot happen. Asmat pratyegocare vishayini chidatmage. Who is the subject? Asmat pratyegocare, the one that is the content of the notion of I. Chidatmani is consciousness, conscious by nature. Yusmat pratyego vishayasya. Vishaya is what? The content of you. Which is what? Inert, illumined. And therefore, adhyasa mithya, it cannot be that the object is taken to be subject and subject is the object, because they are in different locations, having totally contradictory attributes. They can never coexist. Therefore, it cannot be that one is confused for the other, because two are things different. The cow is different, horse is different. No way that somebody will confuse cow as horse and horse as cow. You follow? So if cow and then what is that called? That then the gavaya, the go and gavaya may have similarity. One can confuse one for the other. A Bengali can be confused with a Chinese and stuff like that. It's possible because of some but two things which are distinct from each other, having distinct attributes, like a horse and a cow, or buffalo which is totally black and cow, they cannot be confused with each other. So also the object is inert, illumined, perishable, many. Subject, conscious, imperishable, one. They are totally contradictory in attributes, therefore, and they can never coexist. That in the case, it is not possible that you can confuse between them. There cannot be confusion between two entities that are totally of different nature, contrary, not only different, contrary nature. What is contrary? Which cannot coexist. Light, darkness cannot exist where the light is. So can you confuse between light and darkness? Take light as darkness, darkness as light. Can it happen? That light is taken as darkness and darkness is taken as light. Can it happen? Cannot happen. Therefore, tad dharmanam adhyasa. Therefore, the superimposition, taking them as one. Mithya bhavitam arhati. If somebody takes horse as a cow or cow as horse, it cannot be. It cannot happen that one takes this as this. And still this happens. Meaning that even though the object and subject are totally distinct in nature, in different locations, contrary to each other, cannot coexist, it doesn't make sense that one can be taken for the other, and still that is happening. Tathapi anyonyasmin anyonyatmakatam itaredara avivekana atyanta aviviktayoho. Those were totally different. But because of aviveka, what is aviveka? Inability to distinguish between them, One is taken to be the other. The object is taken to be subject, and therefore this attribute of the objects are superimposed on the subject, and the attribute of subjects are superimposed upon the object. So that's what is happening in our life. Therefore, there is ignorance in our life. So how does ignorance play in our life? Is now described in several verses. Next several verses describe how ignorance plays itself out in our life. So that will continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.